What's going on, people, and welcome to a brand new episode of Too Many Games and Not Enough Time. Yes, we are in the third lockdown. Fam, I've had to draw for the do-rag again because my headpiece is looking atrocious. Now, we're not just on YouTube anymore. We are also on your favorite podcast services. So you can find us on Spotify, on your iOS, and all of that jazz. So make sure you give us a like and thumbs up. And we finally hit 1K. I am so gassed about that. Now, you know, on Too Many Games, I get to sit down with some incredible, talented individuals and speak to them about gaming and what they are playing. And in today's episode, it's a little bit different because I've got Scotland's very own. He is a DJ, a video director. He is about this music thing. We're talking KE Comics. Etienne, welcome to Too Many Games and Not Enough Time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you and go, talk about games and everything, from music, games, comics, everything. Let's do it.
The whole shebang. Now, so for people who don't know, like I said, you are a DJ, but you moved to Scotland when you was a little man, when you was like 10. And that experience made you actually create your own comic. Now, come on, you know it. I'm about representation around here. You see this guy created Glasgow's first black superhero. Fam, first of all, congratulations on that. What made you even come up with something so crazy? Like, that's like, obviously being in Glasgow, there ain't too much black people up there as it is. How did you really think, right, you know what, I want to do a comic book character who's black, who represents me, but comes from this ends where you mainly see white people?
Yeah, I mean, when I came to Scotland, obviously, coming from like Democratic Republic of Congo, and you're coming to the UK, I was thinking, well, I think I'm going to land in London. I didn't know my parents were living in Glasgow in Scotland. So when I got to Scotland, I was like, what's going on here? Why is it raining and snowing? And, because I was not used to this kind of weather. So when I came to Scotland, obviously I had this sort of image of how you look at the West world, how you imagine it to be, and how maybe it's going to be like maybe the promised land, Then when I got here, I started, experiencing things from like racism and, struggling to fit in as a black man that come from Democratic Republic of Congo. And, those things as well, just kind of started making me question if I really belonged in Scotland. But I wouldn't say that all these things I experienced were like bad. I've made some great friends, made some really cool people in Scotland, but being stopped like by the police like 5 times within 1 week. Same police officers started making me question really if I belonged in this country. So I was like, I think growing up, I remember we had this old 80s broken television set, and I remember I used to take my brothers and sisters at the back of the house, and I would, how it's got a big back, I would go through the back and just start acting out some scenes from like an animation Spider-Man or Tom and Jerry that I could have seen on TV. And I remember storytelling has always followed me, growing up. So I was like, if I could create a superhero, Scotland's first black superhero, and then fight these injustices that I face, I think it would be a great way for me to channel this energy, because I'd seen my friends being locked up or getting in trouble. And I was like, man, I think storytelling would be the best way. But I did not get the courage to do it until I watched Black Panther. I was like, yo, I think this is it. I gotta do it. I have to address these issues and things I'm experiencing, both good and bad. And that's the best way you can inspire and change the world.
Wakanda forever, fam. Wakanda forever. So the reason why I really wanted to talk to you is obviously you've got your Scotland's first superhero who goes by the name of DJ E.T. and the comic is Beats of War. And one thing that I was really interested in to me is, like, obviously when I grew up, like, I've been in gaming since I was a kid. I've always been playing video games, and it was very rare for me to be able to see a black character that looked like me, that I kind of aspired to. And anytime I did, like, I completely hung to them because I was so excited, like when I saw Barrett in Final Fantasy. But this year, PlayStation 5 actually launched their brand new console, and one of the biggest launch titles was Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is a Black Latino character, which was huge. And I could imagine how it felt for like kids opening that. Could you ever see Beats of War being a video game? And if it was, like, what would be like your vision for the game?
Yeah, I feel like when I created Beats of War, I felt like, through story, comics, and gaming, there's things you highlight as a storyteller and things that you can change in the world through gaming and film. And when I created it, I envisioned it being a film and a game as well. And, the character just, represent who he is and standing up for the people who move from a country and move to a new country. And that's the sort of thing he stands for. Anyway, it comes from a planet that is facing some sort of destruction. So he comes to a new planet and falls in Glasgow. And this is where he's trying to find answers to save his planet. So this story represents people who move from a new country and go to live in a new country. And I feel like my story could go from that angle, having that sort of journey of this character either in the game coming from his planet that is being destroyed by nanorobotics, and now he comes to Earth, makes friends with humans and understands how the humans live and use that technology and extend that technology and go back and save his planet. And I feel like that could be the very interesting angle that I could come with it, because I relate to that. I came from Democratic Republic of Congo. You can tell by my accent, I wasn't born in the UK. Like, there's a bit of...
You definitely don't sound like you're from Glasgow, fam.
No, I don't sound like I'm from... Even in England, when I get to England, like, dude, where you from, man? I'm like, oh, well, Glasgow, but they're like, you don't sound from Glasgow.
I really like the sound of the idea of that game as well, because I'm thinking about it, like, so you could actually be back in your home planet, so you get to see like your planet and you go through that first battle, but like you're really fighting, and no matter how good you do, you're always gonna lose. Like the computer keeps on bringing on more and more and more enemies to the point where you have to escape, and then you get to do the whole space travel. That could be really cool, and then landing in on Earth, and it being like a really weird environment. So I think that would be a sick game. And I love the characters design. I love as well how they based the whole mask and everything about the mask that you wear when you do DJ sets. I think that's super cool. But one thing I want to know is, like, what is your gaming experience? Like, what video games did you grow up playing, or did you even play them when you were younger? Do you still get to experience video games? Like, what's your kind of array within the video game world?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I remember the very first game I played was called Metal Gear Soldier. It was
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, Solid. Yes, that's it.
Metal...
With PlayStation 2, that was the first game. And I remember when my mom brought that console to our house, I didn't want to let my brothers play, because I was like, I gotta figure this thing out. I remember sitting in the couch for like about 7 hours.
Wow.
7 hours playing that game, and my mom was like, you gotta let your brothers and sisters play as well. Like, it's not just about you. I mean, so growing up, so I played that. I played games like Mortal Kombat. I played the other games like for football. I played this new Spider-Man game as well, and I played the Avengers one, which I was not quite sure if I liked. And so I've been, mostly because I'm a film director, so I've been always looking at games as inspiration to create things that I want to create, from comic books and storytelling as well. So I'm not like a full into gamer, but I do play games. And Mortal Kombat and Metal Gear Solid, that's like one of my best games, because obviously
Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid is a sick game to start off, especially if you're into movies, because it's basically like film directing style. But do you know what? I didn't even think about it. Could you imagine DJ E.T. in Mortal Kombat? Because he's all about like learning music, and he could do some mad finishing, like he could do some musical notes that's chopping off a man's head or something like that. You get me?
No, that's a good idea, actually. That could come in as well, because there's something about it. The characters in the game, they have this sort of when you press a button on a console and then it kind of goes to your gun and you can target whoever you're shooting. I remember being stuck on this final battle with this lady called, I forgot, Olga. Was it Olga? We were fighting the game, and dude, like, I can imagine it just being in that game. Like, now you've talked about it, I feel like you can feel it there as well.
Yeah,
it's
fam.
really good,
I definitely think it could work. So one thing I want to find out from you is, obviously we've spoken about DJ it, and obviously you've been inspired to make it because of stuff like Black Panther and it being able to allow you to tell your story, but also let the next generation kind of see. For anyone, because I'm still waiting on my comic, so I haven't read it yet. Like, I keep it 100, I haven't read it yet, so I haven't got my comic yet. So for anyone who's watching Too Many Games and they've listened to you and like you got an interesting story, or they can relate to something about you, what would be your sales pitch on why someone needs to go out and support and purchase a comic of Beats of War?
I feel like Beats of War is one of the unique comic book because it tells my story that a lot of people who are immigrants that come from countries and move to a new country can relate to, because I understand what it feels like to be new in a new country and you don't know where to go for certain things, or you can't fit in maybe because of the culture, or you don't understand the music scene, you know? So I know what it feels like, and I feel like for Beats of War, I didn't really want to create a comic book that is like, you know how they created like Spider-Man back in the day, and when you look at the graphic, it's a random image they drew. So there's some people in my life that I felt like I could keep alive in the story. So all the image references in the story are people that are close to me. Even my mom that's passed away, I feel like I could keep those, you know, people that I know that are close to me in the story, which I feel like that could create a great connection with me and the story. And I feel like people relate that to the story as well. So every character you're gonna see in my comic book are people that I actually know, that I use facial references, and I kept them live in the story. And that's a story about, you know, coming from a new country and, you know, coming to a new country and trying to fit in, you know, which is always a struggle.
That's super amazing. But like, because I said I haven't been able to read the comic yet. Does DJ E.T. have any powers? Like, what's his special abilities? What about that specific character stands out? Like, tell me about the character itself.
The character's got a power of a star. That's why he's got a star in his chest, you know? He's got a power of a star. And he also has self-healing blood, green blood from his planet. So that's the kind of, and he's got flight powers. He can fly off, and he's got martial arts tactics as well. So that's the kind of powers we playing around. But obviously, because I've been writing the story with the team of friends, I'm working out with the story, and we've written up to 10 issues, and we're trying to work around how we can, you know, take people onto this journey of him figuring out who he is, you know, because he's a half-breed, he's half human, half alien. So there's other more things that you get to understand and get to know as you read the story.
Well, I can't wait to read it. You sound so passionate about it, and it sounds super amazing. If people want to support you and they want to get part of your journey, where can they purchase Beats of War?
Beats of War can be found on my website, www.mileawayfilms.com. When they go to the Etienne universe, that's where all the comic books are. By the way, Etienne means the people from that planet. They are called Etiennes. Okay. And then it is from my name, Etienne. So Etienne, Etienne. So I wanted to have those words that are really original. I mean, I get inspired by a lot of comic book creators, but I really wanted to have something that stands out. Even on the cover, you can see this is me. That's the character, this is me. So I just wanted to really look at characters and be like, oh, this is my friend, this is the other guy from the street, this is the guy I created music with. And I feel like I wanted to have that stronger connection to the story. And I feel like when people actually find out this about the comic book, they feel inspired, and I'm excited about it and the future.
Super dope. I have, obviously there'll be links below so you can purchase it. He's also got some really cool music videos, so go and check them out. Now, I can't lie, I really want this as a video game. It sounds sick. So make sure you support him so he can get big. So a publisher will come and knock his door and say, we need DJ ET in a video game, because I want to play it, he wants to play it, and you want to play it as well. Now, thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, my social media is dir.etienne. That's director Etienne, but director just come in short form, dir.etienne. Then Instagram, and then you can find me on Twitter at Kubwabo. I'll send you the links in case people find it really hard to find the spelling. But on Twitter, Instagram, and my website is the perfect place to find me. And thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast and just talking about this. I feel like a child when I start talking about comics and games, and I feel like we all have to keep that part of ourselves alive. That's the only way we could push through,
It's super important to keep that energy alive within them. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I've been Mr. Midas. He's been the creative of DJ ET, and you need that in your life. Make sure if you're listening to this on any podcast services, come over to the YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, and we out. Peace.